Today's chapter is based on the values, that is from the fourth unit, understanding stress and conflicts. And in this topic, we'll be talking about what are values, what are ethics, what are prejudices. Okay, so what is a value? Value is your belief system, what you think is important to you, what do you think highly of. And values actually, they will determine your course of action. Whenever you do something, you have the values attached to it. Okay, you know that something is good or something is bad. And how you know something is good or something is bad? Based on your own value, your own perception. Value reside deep within your subconscious, because the way you have been raised up. Okay, uh, you are looking at everybody around you, they shape your value, so they get integrated in your personality. And whatever decision that we make, while we choose friends, while we find our employment, while we talk about others, while we choose our modes of entertainment, okay, these are all based on values. So whatever type of people around are there in our life, they will also shape our values, because we are not what we are. We are shaped and molded by the people around us. Okay, because they tell us, they keep on telling us, our parents, our elders, our grandparents, our neighbors, so they all teach us values. Our parents tell us this is right, they will tell us to choose right from wrong. Okay, so that determines our value. They tell us we should go to the worship place early in the morning, we should get up early in the morning. Okay, we should not lie, we should always respect others. So these are all value systems. Okay, they become part of your personality. All right, we make constant decision, we are able to clearly decide on something, we can make rational decision, responsible towards each and everyone, only based on our values. Okay, because values are the things that we all believe which are important for us. They determine our priorities. They are so deep in our personality, that we don't even come to know that when we are deciding, it is our value system which is pushing us towards that decision. They turn us into the human being what we become. It is the value, it is only the values that are very, very important. Okay, now these are the list of values which we, most of us, you know, have heard of or maybe not. So we'll be talking about all of these value after uh, the class is over. Right now I'll just skip to the next slide because this is a long list. Okay, now what are the different types of values? What are the different types of values? Values may be moral values and values may be social values. Moral values means it deals with the individual. It reflects a positive aspect of human life. It prescribes the ethical, moral as against unethical, wrong, immoral. So it tells us whether something is right, whether something is wrong. So that is called moral values. And what about social values? That means it does not deal with an individual. It deals with the society. It deals with the with large group of people. All right. Then it is actually the application, because it is followed by group of people. Okay. For example, your community, your whole family, your samaj. Okay. These are the things which goes for social values. Okay, function of values. Now there is one video, small video, that I have kept the link here. I think I'll show you all of these videos once my lecture is over. Okay, so I'll skip it right now for the moment. we'll go to the next. What are the functions of values? So values, they provide one, I'll write it for you, okay? Values, they provide goals or ends for the members to aim for. They provide goals or ends for the members or a person. Member in case it is of a group, okay, if it is a social values, okay, members to aim for. Then they provide for stabilities, uniformities, in society interaction, in interactions, okay. Then one to third point will be they they lay down the rule. They lay down the rule, or it is also called legitimacy, to govern specific activities or mode of contact, whatever. Now next point is values help to bring about some kind of adjustment between different set of rules. So they also help us in adjustment between different types of rules. Then I don't know what is next. What these are the 4-5 values which are the functions of value. And anyways, these videos I will show you once the lecture is over, okay. There are few small clips which will tell you, and then I'm going to ask you after looking at these videos what type of values you can see in that person, okay. Now moving ahead, what is the importance of values? Values they basically prevent you from justification that leads you to unhappiness. This is very important point. Don't underestimate this point, because maybe because when you do something wrong, you always try to justify, but it is the value that will help you to not justify and accept your fault, okay. Maybe you cheated in an exam thinking that it's okay because you studied really hard and it was a tough subject, so what if I cheated? So when you say so what if I cheated, then that means your values not so strong. But if your value is very strong, what you will do? You will say, yeah, this was my fault, I should not have. You in your subconscious mind also you will feel guilty about it, so you will not justify, okay. But if you keep on justifying your fault, that is definitely going to lead to unhappiness, because you somewhat are trying to compromise with the values that you have, okay. Maybe when you lie also, sometimes we lie because we are trying to help somebody. So then there are two values that come in clash with each other. For example, you lied because you wanted to save the life of somebody. So that time there are two values involved. One moral value is to save the life of somebody. Second is whether I should lie or whether I should not lie. All right. So in that case, so two values are in clash. So you will always try to figure out which value is going to be more beneficial in the long run. If I speak a small lie, if it saves somebody's life, if it saves somebody from a lot of trouble, then we can compromise on that value of speaking truth and try to save somebody from a very grievous situation. So here also, then you will not justify that I wanted to, I want to speak truth because that is the only thing. But then what about the somebody that who is going to unnecessarily face some problem because of your lie? होते हैं कुछ लोग, there are type of people who will always be truthful no matter what, even if they have to face trouble. But then nowadays we have grown much over that feeling that yeah, if it अपने लिए तो करते ही हैं, then you will not be able to justify it. Okay, but if you are trying to help somebody out from the situation by speaking the lie, then you are somewhat compromising on it. Okay, then value helps in shaping your behavior. How does it do that? Almost all of the action that we take, all those actions are controlled to some degree by our values. Okay, so that means our behavior is controlled by our values. So whenever we do something that goes against our values, and most of us we tend to feel uncomfortable when we are doing that. All right, so now next point is values, they guide us even when the rules are absent. Now that rule is something that is guided by our values, isn't it? Now you create rules for yourself, and if you are consistent with your rules, that means you are valuing your values. You are giving importance to your values. For example, you have freedom over what you want to choose to react in certain situation. You can react in many ways. The situation is same, but you can react in many ways. So it is the values that will guide you how to react. Value system is very important. Whenever there is a fight, it will be the values that will tell you. Even when there is a fight, whether you are fighting for your right, whether you are fighting for your friend's right, whether you are fighting for truth, whether you are fighting for injustice, on which side you are. If you are selfish, that means you are not having proper values in you. But if you are truthful, you will fight for the cause. You will be along with the truth, that's most important. So the values, they guide us when the rules are absent. So many times rules are absent. For example, you are walking on the road and you find a wallet, somebody's wallet. It is your value. Whether you will keep that wallet with you or whether you will go and give it to the policeman so that he can find out the person, or you find out the person yourself by looking at those, driving license or whatever present in that wallet. So it is your value. There is no rule written anywhere that you have to give that wallet back to somebody. And there is no law also, because you have not stolen it, you have found it, but it is the value system that guides you. All right. The next point is values, they help us in making our fundamental beliefs. What are the fundamental beliefs? It will tell you what is right, what is wrong, what is just, what is wrong. Values, basically provide guidance as we determine the right versus wrong. Kabhi bhi. Or good versus bad. So these are the fundamental values. These are our standards. Typical values are honesty. As just now I gave you an example that tells you about the honesty. Whether the wallet belongs to you or not. Whether you will use that money. Okay. When you see some lot of money, just for example, some people are so highly valued, they walking on the road, even if they find 2,000 rupees note lying on the road, they will not pick it up. Because they know It does not belong to them. They have not earned it. So that is it. So they are, you know, they are the standards. Typical values are honesty, integrity, compassion, courage, honor, responsibility. Patriotism is for what you feel for your country. Whether will you go against your country in any ways. If somebody gives you money and start telling you that you have to raise slogan against your country, will you do that? So that means you will not do. That is so much, fabricated in your personality that you will never do that. If you see some okay, if you see Indian flag lying on the road, you may walk over it, you may walk to by the side of it, or you may pick it up and keep it somewhere. So these are the three ways you will do it. Okay, so that depends on your value, how much patriotism is uh, integrated in your personality, how much respect you give to others, how fair you are with your dealings when you are with others, how you treat your people who are lower than you in financial status or even age wise, how you treat you. So values are very important in that way. So second point is satisfying our need. Everyone has a variety of ways that they choose to satisfy their need. Okay, so our values, they help us guide in how are we going to do that. Your personal values may guide you to believe that you can find food by stealing. Okay, but for that means you steal, you cheat to obtain your money or your food, because that value has not been given to you. You may not know, because children who are on the road, they have learned it right from the beginning that you can do that. So those values are inculcated in them. Okay, but for you people, because we have belonged to family where our parents, they keep on telling us this is bad, this is wrong, this is right, this is good, whatever. So as a result, you will not do that. And you will know that food should be bought from money that you earn ethically, not unethically. So even earning money wrong way is also not value. Okay, so that means you will satisfy your need only based on good values. Okay, next, values, they help you establish what is important in your life. What is most important in your life? For example, you may be only after money. You will not value your relationship, or maybe you are interested in your health. So you invest lot of money and time in your health. That is your value. Being fit is your value. Okay, you get into creativity, you get into poetry, you get into writing. So these are your values. You want to spend free times in that regard. You may go to spiritual places. That becomes your values. Okay, so what is important in your life, values will help you establish that. If the values of being religious is inculcated in your life right from the beginning, till 5 years, you get up in the morning, take bath, meditate, or you perform puja, you go to gurudwara, you go to a mosque, you go to church. So that value is inculcated in your life, and that is going to define your life later on also. That is going to define your personality. Okay, because you know that this is important, right? Next, we'll move on to, it helps us in decision making. Values always tell us that what are the good decisions from bad. Okay, isn't it? Decisions, they are driven by our values. Your destiny is the sum total of all the decisions that you make in your life, right? So values are very important when we decide, because they will only guide us. Okay, next point is help you get motivated. Now it is the value system. Values help you get, and stay motivated. Values relate to your purpose in life. Values are used as your guiding principle, right? Now, because values, when you are small, we don't even come to know. There are so many activities that our parents do, and they get absorbed in our personality. Your mother gets up early morning, lights a diya, she stays in the mandir, or she does her part puja. So these values, they get in your system. And whenever you feel because you also followed your mother's footstep, you have also have got that habit. Now whenever you are feeling you know that you are not able to decide, you don't know what to do, you are not motivated, you will go back to your fundamentals, and then again you will get that motivation. So values, they help you get motivated because they provide you with strong foundation. So whenever you are not feeling motivated, that means what happens? What is the basic cause? That means your value systems are not in place. Your foundation is not strong. People who have got good foundation in values system, they are always motivated because they know they have to do this, they have to do this. They will not waste their time. Not wasting time in unnecessary activity is also one of the values. So when you are on the right track, that means you will be motivated on your own. Nobody else will be able to motivate, because you yourself is your motivator. Then your personality development. Characters and personality of an individual are shaped or molded, through your attitude, behavior of the people who raised you. That means, who are the people who raise you? Your family members, your elders, your elder sibling. Sometimes, your values are based on your elder sibling also, how that person is. Alright? Sometimes it is your parents, sometimes it is your grandparents, sometimes it is your uncle and aunts. Sometimes you have a role model. Maybe it is your bua, it is your chachi, it is your masi, whom you consider as a role model because you are so influenced by that personality. So if that personality has got high values, you will be motivated. You will have those type of personality. You will start observing her very closely, and you will become that, like her, like him, or like her. All right. So it's always good to choose your role models nicely. Okay, because you will become, if they are your role models, you will definitely become them. Next, let's go to the next slide. Now we'll talk about, again, there were so many slides, Chennai. In this there are no videos. Here also there is a video that I will show you at the end of the meeting. Now here we'll talk about what are ethics. Ethics are basically, uh, it's a critical analysis of morality, of the moral factors that guide human conduct in a particular society or practice. To behave ethically means to behave in a manner that is consistent with what is generally considered to be right or morally right. So ethical behavior is very important for mutual trust. Ethics is about our action, about our decisions. So when we act in ways which are consistent with our belief, we will be we will be ethically doing that work. Okay? Got it? Now, ethics is actually a branch of study which deals with the proper course of action for man. So in simple words, it's a branch of study which will deal with the proper course of action for man. Okay? You may be having definitely so many questions in your mind. For example, what do I do? Okay? So in that sense, you will be definitely weighing the option whether it is right. If I do this, this is right. If I do that, this is wrong. So your actions are driven by your you know your you know your proper course of action. What course of action that you take, that is called ethics. Okay. So, but on a more fundamental level, what is ethic? It is a method by which we categorize our value, right? And how we pursue them. So there, now we'll talk about uh, what are the importance of ethics. They are the essential requirement in the human life. Ethics are very important. I'm going to show you this video uh, just now, because whatever topic that we are doing, I think that video should be shown. So I'll show you this one, not the other one. Now, essential requirement in human life. What does that mean? Ethics is very important. Okay, it is our means of deciding a course of action. हम कौन सा रास्ता चुनते हैं, that is decided by the ethics. Okay. And without ethics, our action would be random, they would be aimless, they would be, will not be able to reach anywhere, because there would be no way back, no way to pick between limitless number of goals. But it is the ethics that will decide that. Then ethics and morals help people to make good decisions. Okay. They will help to make good choices. So different ethical codes provide various standards for sorting through and settling through the question that what should we choose. Next, ethics help people keep away from acting in a ways that harm others. So it is your ethics that will make you make fair decisions, so that it does not harm anybody else. Okay. It should benefit you, but it should not go against other people's will and interest. They encourage equality. Okay. And maybe it's something is good for you, but if I do that thing, the other person gets hurt. So what is the ethics? You will not choose that. That is the course of action that you will take. Okay, this is not going to help that person. Why should I do it for myself then? Right? So then, if two choices are, both equally ethical, we will choose which is more, beneficial and which is more lawful. Right? If both options are equally lawful, then we choose which is the most efficient one. Okay. Now, next, teaching an employee or an adult on ethics is not very effective. Why? Because personal values and ethical behavior has to be taught by parents and also in school. Ethics are very important because they give you foundation, they give you the baseline to understand the concept of what is right, what is wrong. But ethics help individual to prepare themselves to react to a situation, to how to choose. Okay. Sometimes we need to react according to the situation, but our built-in values tells us that no, this is not the way. So then ethics comes into play. So having a standard of ethics will always be better than to prefer to have a situational ethics. A standard in ethics will show us how to choose, how to live, where to go, where not to go. Got it? Now, ethics will help us in dealing with people on daily basis. Ethics are very important. Right sense of thinking will make you do positive work, and wrong sense will make us will make us get in contact with those people who are negative, who are already having no good bad values in them. If our ethics are built on truth delivered in the word of God, then we will treat others as equal, because all are children of God. So ethics के बहुत सारे examples हैं. Honesty, loyalty, open-mindedness, responsibility, punctuality. Okay. Time, दूसरों के time की कदर करना, live and let live, respect for others, fairness. you know, not taking bribe, dealing, very fairly, even if it is for, even if it goes against your will. So you must have heard the stories of Raja Harishchandra. So what was the most important value in his life was truth. Truth is basically the most important. If you understand this value, everything come. This is a biggest umbrella. इसके नीचे all these values will come. Honesty, everything will come here, because then you are with truth. Okay, so सबसे बड़ी important value is truth. उसी के अंदर सब कुछ आ जाएगा. If you have to choose the correct from right, you have to think. Just take a plunge into your subconsciousness. Your subconsciousness will tell you, because it knows the truth. It will tell you, it will guide you. Now it is up to you whether you will follow it or not. Whichever situation, अभी punctuality को ही ले लो. You know the truth that being on time is right. If you are late by 5 minutes, okay, the value of truth is telling you, don't sign the register because you are 5 minutes late. But if you are little dishonest, you will say, what happens? क्या हो गया? 5 minutes है ना? Okay, let me sign my muster today. But truth क्या था? They have said, even if you are late by 1 minute, you will not sign the muster. But the value system was not there, so you did that. Okay? Now let's move ahead. Let me show you this video at least, because I think this video is very important one. One second, I'm going to play it for you. Okay, you'll be able to see the screen now.
How many decisions do you think you make each day? If you ask the internet, the answer will range from 70 to 35,000. If you ask us, it's the wrong question to be asking at all. That's because we're interested in ethics. We're not concerned about the quantity of your decisions. We care about their quality. You might want to think of ethics as a tool that helps us create the difference between a good decision and a bad one. Ethics is the branch of philosophy that asks the practical question, what should we do? This leads to the study of things like values, principles, beliefs, and norms. These are the things that shape our choices. Ethics asks us, how should we live? What choices should we make? And what makes our lives worth living? It tries to help us define the conditions of a good choice and then figure out which of our available options is the best one. Let's say a close friend, Lee, confides in you that they're struggling with depression. They're feeling isolated and alone. But whenever they're invited to go out, they find it impossible to do. Lee insists they don't want anyone else to know. They're trusting this information to you alone. A few days later, another friend comes to you, frustrated about Lee. Lee's flaked on plans at the last minute yet again, and your friend has had enough. They've decided they just won't bother inviting Lee out anymore. So you're torn. If Lee stops being invited to things, the isolation could make them feel even worse. Sharing information about their depression might help Lee be treated with more empathy and compassion. But it would be a breach of trust. And if Lee found out, especially in a vulnerable state, who knows what might happen? What do you do? Keep the secret and allow Lee to be socially isolated? Or break Lee's trust, but do it for their benefit? Answering this question means getting clear on what matters, our values and principles. Our values are the things we hold to be good and therefore care about most deeply. Things like justice, knowledge, family and equality. In this case, we're likely to value both trustworthiness and compassion, which pull us in different directions. So it looks like an appeal to values alone won't let us solve this dilemma. We don't just need to know what's good, we need to know what's right. This is where principles come in. They help us draw a line in the sand. They determine the acceptable ways of getting the things that we value. So what's our guiding principle with regard to Lee? Some people might adopt a principle like be true to your word, meaning you keep Lee's confidence no matter the risks. Others might be inclined towards a principle like act in people's best interests and decide that it's in Lee's best interest that people know about the depression. Of course, there are still ambiguities, which is part of what makes ethical decision-making so complicated. So how do we select which values and principles to adopt? And how do we make choices when we face a conflict of values and principles? Good versus good, right versus right. What helps to orient our judgment is a connection to purpose. What's our guiding North Star? What's our reason for being? Think about Lee again. Now, think about the purpose of friendship. What are friends for? Think about why Lee decided to tell you in confidence. Your purpose as Lee's friend is to share their life with them, the highs and the lows. But it's their life and it's their decision on who they share it with. Lee chose to share this information with you alone. Given this, even if you prefer to act in people's best interests, thinking about purpose and thinking about Lee's purpose might encourage you to take a different path. Every time we make a choice, we change the world. What kind of world do you want to live in? Whether you make 35,000 choices a day or just one, what's important is that you make choices that are good and right. Choices you can justify, ones you can be proud of. That's what makes the choices actively yours.
Okay, so that was the video that told you about what is ethics and how Lee was, torn between two choices, whether he should tell his other friends who were complaining about Lee's that he's not coming and, trying to socialize with them, or whether he should keep the secret or not. So you try to decide what you will do in that case. What is your value system? Okay, so we'll be going to the next topic now. One second. So I was on this slide and I showed you this video. So this video is done. Okay. We'll move on to the next slide. Now, what is a prejudice? Are you aware of the word prejudice? It's basically when you make, certain opinion about something, prejudgment, okay, before becoming before knowing the true facts or relevant facts of the case. You are totally biased. That means you already have made up your mind that this person is right, this person is wrong. That means it is prejudiced decision that you have made, because you have already, you will not even hear the other party's story. That means you are prejudiced. Okay, the word is often used to refer preconceived and unfavorable judgment towards people or person, because either you consider gender as a point, or political opinion, social class. For example, now people, you know they may be prejudiced against Russia, they may be prejudiced against America, they may be prejudiced against Modi. Some people may be so much blindly following Modi. So these are all prejudices that have come to play nowadays. Because if you cannot see some good in somebody, that means you are prejudiced. If you are not able to see some bad thing in somebody, that means you are blinded. So it is like you have already made up your opinion that person is bad. That means he is going to be bad for the rest of your life, even if he does 100 good things to you or to the society. So this means you have already made up your stance is very clear, whether it is based on religion, whether it is based on sexuality, whether it is based on race or ethnicity. Your stance for something is very clear. You have already made up your mind. Okay, so prejudge is the real word. It is the set of attitude which causes, supports, or justifies your discrimination on that thing. Okay, so it is can be either positive or negative. Okay, but prejudice can be either positive or it can be negative. Now both forms are usually preconceived and it is difficult to change that. Okay, whether you are in favor of somebody or whether you are against. So these things, when you are not able to see the truth, because everything in this world, everybody in this world is not black and white. There are different shades of gray also. If you think person A is correct all the time, maybe person B is right this time. But since you are prejudiced against A, so you will never ever consider the other person's correctness. So that should never happen. Okay, we should rise above that. We should know that if A is most of the time right, A can also be wrong somewhere. When B is most of the time wrong, B can also be right somewhere. This prejudice should never be there for any race. For example, we should never consider that जैसे prejudiced behavior कहाँ होता था? Remember Britishers used to consider that others are very they are the superior most people, and they used to look down on other races. They always had prejudice. So even if there was a fight between a British person and Indian, they will always say, yeah, he's British, Indians are always like that. So that means which value was coming in between? It was the negative prejudice. Okay, this does occur between religions also. Like what happens nowadays, most of the people, they fight over Hindus and Muslims, right? This is the hottest topic nowadays. What is happening? Hindus will consider they are always right, so Hindu people will teach their children don't trust Muslims, are bad, so Muslim will do all the same. Don't trust Hindus, they are bad. So that means what they are, which type of seeds they are sowing in the minds of the children? Prejudice, which is not right. It's not always important that if there is a fight between Hindu and Muslim, that Hindu is always right, or if it is from the point of view of a Muslim, that Muslim is always right. Could be possible. You have to see the right and wrong rather than caste, rather than religion. rather than race, rather than gender. That should never come and decide your action. That should not be the discriminating factor. Okay, that's very important. One can be prejudiced against or have a preconceived notion about someone due to any characteristic they find unusual or undesirable. Okay, so I'm going to talk about all of these things one by one. Let me clear all the ink marks from here. I've already made this box for you. Now, based on gender discrimination means some ill feelings about female or, and it happens because in Indian society you must have seen always, uh, uh, nowadays it is not there. Most of the educated Indian parents, they don't consider that female should be discriminated, but then it used to happen and it is still happening. I will not deny the fact, because uh, between a girl and a boy, there is always in a family they always prefer to give lot of they will not tell boy much, they'll not put lots of rules for the boy, they will not tell him much, and they will give him generously everything for education also. And for girl child they are like, no, 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 we should not give them lot of education, we should not give them lot of freedom, we should not let them go out, we should not allow them to have friends, we should not allow them to go and do jobs, etc. So that means that is a gender discrimination. We should not be prejudiced against. And similarly, not that, there are some feminism also, feminist activists also, who are always against male. That is also wrong, though it is in very less quantity, but it is there. But why should it be there? If the male person is right, he should be given the benefit. Most of the laws in the court, they are, if there is a husband and wife ke beech mein there is a fight, most of the laws are in favor of wife, but it could be sometimes wife can be wrong also. So where this poor fellow will go? So it should not be. The laws, courts and judges or lawyers should hear the person both the ways, wife and husband, without being prejudiced, putting this prejudice in their mind that it's always the wives who are tortured. No, sometimes it could be the opposite case. So that prejudice should never come while doing the judgment. Okay, no, 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 it's always the women who are suffering. No, it should not be that way. Got it? Now let me see what is the time. Okay, I'll take a break of 10 minutes and we'll talk about this after 10 minutes. Okay, we'll continue this.